Okay, year to date and monthly. Okay, we are now, based on the fact that we have gold circle, platinum circle, and all of our circles, we are now doing the top producer of the month. Okay, that is the same criteria as our President's Club, but each month at our business meeting, we will announce the top producers of the month. And for the month of February, these are our top producing agents: Cindy, Gail, Tice, Kathy, Tracy, Andrea, Paula, Marianne, Heather, Ann, Laura, John, Paula, and Gary. Congratulations to all of you. Whoop, whoop. And our top producing teams, we have the Hamilton Montgomery Group, Harold and Cindy Taylor, the Justice Group, Half Hill Auction Group, the Bells Group, and the Delaney team. Congratulations to all of you and your sales for the month of February. I'm going to turn it over to Heather.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone online, too. So, winter coat drive, thanks to Kate Imhoff for bringing this to our attention. And we made 2 trips down there. Thanks to Mary and Kate for dropping those off for the winter clothes drive. So, also, scholarship program. This is through Bluegrass Realtors. That deadline has passed, but I want to let you all know there is a record number of scholarship applicants, 265, and they were still coming in. So fantastic news on that. Also, community outreach. If you are part of the committee, if you will stay just a minute after this meeting, and we will talk about future things to come. Let's talk about some upcoming events. Soup Cook-Off is tonight at Ferguson Kitchen and Bath. That is on Walton Avenue. This benefits BIA Cares and is from 4 to 6. It'll be a great event. I'll be there. If you want to come, please register or see me. YPN, this is not just for the young or new professionals in the business. It is for everyone. It is at Marika's. That is Thursday, 5:30 to 7:30. Marika's on Southland Drive. A good way to network with your fellow agents and get to know some others. We also have Realtor Days coming up June 1st through the 5th. If you have any ideas for this for us to do as a group with Rector Hayden, in the past it has been cookout, maybe at a nursing home or another long-term care facility. It's been landscaping, things of that nature, building ramps, anything home related or sort of feel good that we can do, bring it to our attention, and we'd love to talk about those. We also have the Good Neighbor Grant that is still going on. If you know of an organization that is a 501c3 or C whatever 9 that you can nominate, those are $1,000 grants, and we will award up to 10, and that is through Bluegrass Realtors. So the deadline for that is April 3rd. So if you have any of those, let me know, send them our way. Let's talk about some things really quick at the board. Core. If you need core this year, it will not be offered here. Let me say that again. It will not be offered here because it is offered at the board for free. So it is offered at the board at least once a month. So do not let it creep up toward the end of the year and then you do not have core. There are a couple of different instructors, so just pay attention to that. Member forum, there is one tomorrow at 9 a.m. and another on Thursday at 1. We highly recommend you attend one of these. Bluegrass Realtors has new forms coming out every day. On these forms, you probably received an email yesterday. There, if you scroll to the bottom, they are red lines, so you can see what is updated and follow along. But these forms, these new forms are coming out daily. They're updating them daily and they're coming out to us at a fast pace. So we want to be aware and we're going to digest it as you digest it. So please make a point to register for one of those forums. Also, the buyer agent agreements. We keep seeing these come into the office with a big blank where the percentage is. If you do not have that portion filled out, you do not get a commission. Let's say that again. If you do not have that percentage filled out, you do not get a commission. So do not leave that blank. Don't say, hey, we'll come back and fill it out later. You want to shoot for a 3. And if you end up on at least the buyer side reducing your commission in any form or fashion, long as it is lower than 3, you're still good. If it's above that, you need to rework that document. Any questions on any of that information? I know that's a lot. All right, let's go to pre-listings. Who has a listing either online or in person here coming up? Anybody? Yeah, Patty. Alex, do we have another mic? People online probably can't hear. Hold that thought just a minute. And while he's working on the mic, I want to congratulate Amanda Camp. She you've been here, what, a month, maybe? And she already has a property under contract. So congratulations to Amanda. She's working hard on her business. We're glad you're here. Yeah. Now, Patty.
Okay, it is a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath in Harrods Hill. Has a first floor primary bedroom, beautifully updated kitchen, a screened-in porch on the corner lot, and it will be $354,900 next week.
And these homes are going fast. I don't know if others have experienced multiple offers recently, but these buyers are coming at a rapid pace. All right, I think Nancy had one.
I do. I have one on Richland
There's a
Drive.
microphone. Yeah.
We have the overhead.
I have one coming on Ridgeland Drive. It's a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2-story. It's, I mean, a hop, skip, and a jump, just right across Page Creek at your first left.
Good.
Real cute home. It's freshly painted, good condition. Price is gonna be around $360.
Okay. All right. Good. John, did you have one?
Yeah, I've got one coming out in Charlesburg. Won't be until mid-April,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a 4-bedroom, 3 full bath. I need that.
I think, can they hear?
I'm gonna
I
talk
think so.
like Jim Hatfield.
There you go.
Jim here. So anyway, it's a 4-bedroom, 3 full bath out in Charlesburg. I'm not sure which ball home plan it is, but it's a really nice plan on a corner lot with a brand new fence around the whole backyard. And it's probably gonna be in the 550 to 560 range. So.
Go fast. Anyone else? Here, Mary.
I'll have one off Buckhorn in that area, 3-2 on a roll, I believe. And it'll be about 245 and it should be on in about 2 weeks.
Anyone online? Do we have anything?
I have one.
Yeah.
It's over in Masterson, the Spring Valley area.
Mhm.
It's 3 bedrooms with a bonus. It's that kind of like story and a half typical floor plan. Needs a lot of work. We're working on it. They don't have a lot of money to fix it up
Yeah.
because all their money's in there, but everything over there sells like within 7 days. It'll be in the low 300s or right around 305. But it does have 2.5 baths, 3 bedrooms, plus the extra bonus room.
That's good.
Yeah.
Anybody? Yes.
Lynn Lindsay has one off First Lane, 10 acres, 1,500 home in Raven Run, 600K. Lauren Bell has a listing coming tomorrow on Laramie inside New Circle, 4-bed, 2 baths, 1,593 square feet, 347,000.
All right. What else missing? Anything else? All right. We will go on to insurance. Sean.
Good morning, everybody. I'm going to be pretty short and sweet today. Just a quick update from the insurance world. We're continuing to see the premiums level out and actually go down some. We're also seeing the underwriting strictness loosen some, which we saw starting to come down the road, but we're actually seeing it now to where some of our carriers are in what we call growth mode. So they're willing to lower premiums and lower underwriting standards to grow their business. So that benefits all of us when they do that. I see in the next probably 6 months, things really shaping up in the insurance world after this last 2 years of scraping to get policies through or watching people's premiums go up 20, 30, 40% in a year. That was daunting. And now we're seeing some light at the end of the tunnel. So I do see that, which is nice. Just an example, Travelers Insurance used to require the roof be no older than 10 years old to write their policies. They are now at 15 with some special circumstances for 20. So that's a really good sign, because when they make those changes, other people fall in line. They're one of the biggest companies in the country. So when they make a change, all the other ones make a change because they want to compete. So that's always good. And one thing I do want to remind you of is in the last couple of weeks, I've gotten a lot of calls asking for ballpark figures. Can you give me a ballpark figure on insurance for this home? I cannot. I will not. Because there are so many moving parts with an insurance quote, and it has much more to do with the buyer than it does the home. So if I don't have the buyer's information and their claim history and that kind of thing, I can't give you an accurate quote. So I can't really let you know. I can tell you on average between 0.5% and 1% of the purchase price per year. That's a decent rule of thumb, but it's not always 100% accurate. That's just kind of gives you an idea where it might fall if you've got somebody with that insurance score that's high. So I just want to remind you, I'm not trying to be rude or defiant when you ask me for a blanket quote. I cannot do it because you'll hold me to it, and I can't guarantee that. So I would rather do the formal quote. It's not a big deal to me if they're just starting to look and they want a quote for what that looks like if they buy that home. I'm happy to do that. Put together a quote and let them know, hey, this is what it would be. And if it takes them to a different place home wise, then so be it, but they'll have that information. But I have to gather some pieces from them. And it's not a ton. It's their name, their date of birth, their previous address. On the home I'm quoting, I have to know the age of the roof. There's no more unknowns. Unknown means it goes back to the day the house was built. So we don't want to do that. We have to try to figure that out. And there are some ways through the home inspection. Normally a home inspector will give you 5 to 10 years on the roof. We'll split the difference on that. Or, of course, the seller's disclosure, you guys already know that. But the home inspection is sometimes the appraisal. If not, you can get a roofer to come out and usually give you an estimate of how old that roof is. So there are ways to get it. It's something to want to think about or know early in the process. That way, because again, we're still dealing with the roof issues and basically now it's just about replacement cost versus actual cash value. That's where we're at based on the age of the roof now. Any questions about those couple of little updates? Okay, thanks for your attention.
Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here today. Actually, that is one of my gratitudes for today is that I made it here safely and that I had a companion that came with me. Liz Barnes is with me today. She is our relocation coordinator on our relocation management files. So those of you that actually work with the relocation team on our relocation transactions, you would be familiar with Liz Barnes. And it was great to have the travel companion today. Also grateful for the fact that I got to see Larry Kendall last week in Vegas. And that was it's always amazing to listen to Larry Kendall speak. So gratitudes are definitely high on my list right now. We're trying to get that presentation pulled up. Alex seems to be having a little bit of an issue. There we go. We got it. Good. All right. So let's go on into the presentation for relocation today. First, I want to say congratulations to our 4 agents for sending outgoing referrals. So far we've got Diana Rourke, Nancy Smith, Heather Justice, and Veronica Norwood. So we've sent a total of 4 outgoing referrals for this year. We're a little off compared to this time last year, but that's okay. We still have plenty of time to catch up. Actually, I was hearing from Leading RE that nationally, the outgoing referral business is down by about 20%. And they're really kind of chalking that up to the fact that we had such a terrible winter across the board. So they feel like the spring is really going to help us out with those outgoing referrals, and we'll start seeing agents think out of the box to connect with their sphere and let them know that not only are you guys local, but you are global and you can assist them anywhere. Next, I do want to congratulate Diana Rourke because the outgoing referral that she sent has already closed. So she is our first outgoing referral closed transaction of the year. So congratulations to Diana. And next, I want to let you guys know that marketing has been working hard with me to come up with a new outgoing referral campaign. Again, one that you can state how local you are and the global connections that you have. It is designed for your social media platforms, and it can be found in the marketing studio. Okay, so now we come to this fun screen here, the morning mugshot. Let me share a quick story with you guys. So last week, of course, I was at the Leading RE conference, and I met this agent. His name's Mike. He's actually an agent out of Cincinnati, Ohio with Sipsey Klein Realtors, which is a competitor of Huff Realties, right? I met Mark during the Leading RE conference because he was doing a presentation that I was attending. And Mike has been in the business for several years, okay? And when he first joined his company, he was introduced to the leading real estate companies of the world network and the tools and the courses that come with that network. He shared a story that really stuck with me because it's all about outgoing referrals, right? And I'm always talking about outgoing referrals. So one year, Mike was on vacation, sitting on the porch, leaned back in a chair with his feet propped up on the chair, on the railing. And he was looking at the view that was in front of him. And he decided that he really liked that view and he wanted to take a picture of it. So he then decided that it was such a good picture that he wanted to post it on his social media platform. And in the caption of the photo, he wrote something along the lines of this: looking to change your view locally or globally? I can help. Send me a message. That one simple post generated hundreds of likes and 7 true chats, which turned into clients. And 2 of them became outgoing referrals. And that's how he started his outgoing referral business. He realized how easy it was. When he got back home, he sat down with his marketing team and decided to build on that idea. So together, they created a daily social media concept called the Morning Mugshot. Pretty clever. So every morning now, he posts a picture that includes his face, his coffee mug, and a short message about helping clients move anywhere, locally or globally, through the Leading RE network. It's a simple, consistent, and memorable, and it reinforces the idea that he can connect clients anywhere in the world. And the takeaway for all of this is that sometimes the simplest social media idea can create real business opportunities when you consistently talk about your ability to help clients move, not just locally, but anywhere. So for Sipsey Klein, he became their #1 outgoing referral agent. And he does a great business through outgoing referrals. Outgoing referrals is supplemental income to your local business that you do here. And I thought it was interesting to share his story. So with that said, as Mike continued his conversation on the panel, he shared that one of the most favorite tool that Leading RE offers is the Leading RE social app. So let me take a moment to explain what this tool is and how it can help you, okay? So the Leading RE social app is a platform powered by Agent Icon. It's essentially a library of ready-to-use social media templates created exclusively for the leading real estate companies of the world network. The great thing about this is that the content is automatically co-branded with both the Leading RE logo and our company logo, okay? So it reinforces the global network that we're a part of while still promoting you and your brand. The platform provides we're getting ready to see a video here in a minute. The platform provides professionally designed posts that you can easily share directly to your social media accounts, helping you highlight the power of our Leading RE network. Another helpful feature is that the new posts are added regularly, okay? So you don't really have to do any major work here. So you always have fresh content you can use to stay visible online. You can also upload your own photos or assets to create custom social media graphics. And there are even video creation tools in this platform. If you download the mobile app, you just need to make sure that you enter in our company code, so that way it co-brands it for Rector Hayden. And everything is done for you, right? So overall, it's really a simple way to leverage the power of the Leading RE network and get your social media account going for yourself. Do I need to do this?
At Leading RE, we create world-class marketing content for our members, and we are thrilled to announce Leading RE Social. Now, all our members can access their social media content via our new app and website. Leading RE Social is packed with content, including images, videos, and news. Simply download the app from the Apple App Store or Google Play Store. Open Settings on the app and enter your company code, which is listed below this video. Now all the content in the app is co-branded for your company. From the app, you can post directly to social media channels or download the content for use on websites, blogs, emails, and texts. We've also built a website for each of our members with the same library of co-branded content available on the app. Just click the link below to access your site. We will be continuously updating Leading RE Social with new content. Leading RE Social is a partnership with Agent Icon, and if your firm is one of the hundreds of brokerages who have partnered with them, our co-branded content can also be automatically added to your apps and libraries.
Thanks, Alex. So, going on, if you have your phone, I would suggest that you download this app today. You don't have to do it right now, but if you want to, that would be great. If not, you can see me later and I can help you out. But honestly, it's really super easy. You know, you pick up your phone, you log into your phone, you go to your app store, you search for the Leading RE Social. Okay. And then once you find that, you click on the little get button and then you add in our company code, which is 3901. 3901. And when you do, you'll kind of see, this was a screen that Mike had shared with us, right? So you can see the Leading RE Social. That's what the app looks like. Click on that, and then it will come up for you if you add in our code 3901. And then last but not least, just to remind you that we do have some training coming up. We have Growing Your Business by Referrals on March the 12th from 11 to 12. It is a virtual class. And then we have our Internet Lead Specialist training coming up on March 16th, which is Monday, from 3 to 5, again, virtual as well. Any questions? Anything? No? All right. Thanks, everyone. There we go.
So we are fortunate to have our home services title partners here today, Kathy Sharp and Jim Young. They have always been around and sort of in behind the scenes, but they are here live action today. But they're going to explain to us how we can work more collaboratively and make our transactions a little more smoother. So welcome. Turn it over to you all.
Good morning. My name's Jim Young, and this is Kathy Sharp. Kathy's been in the title business with us for 40 years this year, so let's give her a round of applause. That's a long time. I want to hear a little bit more about you. I mean, I could tell you, a handful of things about me. I've been in the real estate industry for 30 years and in different roles, a lot of times as a top producer. And I look at everything from title from your perspective. How can we make things better for you? What does a client need to know so you look best? Because Kathy and I really believe that you're our client. The buyer and seller is part of that, but they're one at a time where you're our entire life cycle. So we really want to focus on you. And we really have a philosophy, and we'll talk about this kind of throughout this morning. We don't believe in one size fits all. Because when you say one size fits all, that means truly that one size fits no one. We want to look at everything from one size fits one. Some agents like to email, some like to call, some like to text. We'll work with you in the way that you want to be communicated with. And really that's Kathy's specialty. She focuses on you and entirely you of our team. And I think that's kind of a big piece. But let me just start off with a few questions. How many people have been in real estate for 5 years or less? Just show of hands. Okay, 6 to 10 years, 10 years plus. Okay, so pretty heavy veteran room. I think that's great. As we were driving in here today, going through horse country, which is legendary, and I'm going through and I'm thinking, wow, you know, I need a horse story. I got to tell them a horse story. Well, I only have one. A few years ago, I took my kids and my wife and I, and we went to Yellowstone, and we stayed at a little dude ranch outside Yellowstone for a few days. And one day they said, hey, today we're going to go horseback riding and we're going to go up through the mountains. And I was like, oh, all right, great. I'm not really built for horse riding. Not very flexible. I don't have super long legs. So all the kids get their horse name announced and they go up on the stage and they mount up, and the first horse comes through and they're like, White Lightning. And it comes through and they announce my daughter's name, Samantha, and she gets on. And the next horse, they're like, Gallant Steed, and it comes trotting out and they get on. And the next one is like War Legend. And, you know, they bring that one out and they get on. And I'm last. Okay. Dad gets on last. And so I'm pretty excited for like my horse name. And then they go, Larry. And this horse kind of walks out. It didn't trot. It walked out, and it was a draft horse they had for me to ride. It was like riding a sofa. I mean, I got on. I couldn't quite get my little legs around it. They're bringing up the stirrups so I can fit in. I look like a jockey on this thing, but this thing was huge. And that's my only horse story. So I thought, well, I don't have a good horse story. So what do you do when you don't have that? Well, you tell a joke about Tennessee, right? Yeah. I mean, do you know why they don't drink Kool-Aid in Tennessee? They can't figure out how to get 20 ounces of water into that little pack. Oh, all right. Well, it worked in Iowa. Never mind. But I want today to be a little bit more of a conversation versus a presentation. When they had talked with Kathy and I, we were brainstorming, like, well, let's put together something that's fairly title educational. So that's what we did. But I really want to take more questions from you and get input from you on what you need. In hearing some of the examples today through your other partners, that's exactly what we want to be for you. We don't expect your business. We want to earn your business. And we want to do right by you and be helpful. So a great example of something that we can do is maybe you're about to list something and you think that there's an easement to cross the back, or maybe there's an access road that you didn't know about, and what could possibly come up. You can talk to Kathy about that in advance, and we could say, well, here's what it might possibly be. Once we do our search, we'll be able to tell you, and we can get ahead of the game and try to give you great service and try to give you great service. And that's a big part of what we want to do. But let me dive in just to some information. But again, along the way, just throw your hand up and say, Jim, what about this? And let's just talk about it, because, you know, just a presentation is not what we really wanted to come down here to do. We want to have a relationship and a conversation. So I don't think I have a, oh, I do have a clicker. Good. All right. So what is title insurance? You know, most people don't think about title insurance, certainly when they're buying real estate. It's just kind of a conveyor belt thing. Like, oh, I guess we have to have title insurance when we close. And of course, the lender always wants coverage. So that should tell you how important it is. The person that has the single largest stake in it demands coverage, and most states by law, your lender has to be covered. And it's a one-time premium. It's paid at closing. A lot of times if you having the seller pay closing costs, of course it's there, but it affects all of these things where we can protect that person against future claims based on past occurrences. Now that's going to be under what we call our standard policy, but we look into these things that may affect that. What questions do you have on this, or experiences you've had where title has solved a problem, found a problem, or helped impact a transaction? Anybody? A lot of 10-year agents. Yeah.
A guardianship. And we had the contract and everything, and the title company called and said it hadn't been, the guy who was the guardian was not the guardian. It was still in the parent's name. So we had to get that guardianship done and then wait 30 days to close. And it was caught by the title.
Kathy, you want to comment to that?
Yeah, I think that situations like that are very common. And I would say as an agent, when talking with the sellers, if you know of anything like that, to give the title company a heads up, because we can get started on that. If you need to go and get a court order to sell, which with guardianships you do, there is always a 30-day waiting period once the judge signs it. So anything that can be done to get a heads up on that is great.
Yeah. And that's exactly that kind of thing that on the front end, if you have some questions or concerns, we can give you some direction and advice so that you don't end up selling something that then gets delayed. Because we all know what that does to the buyer.
Right.
And of course, the rest of the market, right, the rest of the market doesn't know why. And that doesn't really help your listing. Absolutely.
And why title insurance is important in that situation. Let's say the owners did not purchase their owner's policy at closing, which is optional. They don't have to, but we highly recommend it. And the title company, by chance, did not find that that was an incorrect guardian. That would have been a huge claim for your buyer. And so that's why title insurance is important, because that would have been covered under a title insurance policy. If the buyers had not purchased owner's title insurance, they would not have had coverage, which potentially could result in a huge loss.
Yeah. When you look at policies, many people aren't familiar with the 3 different types of policies you have. Like I said, the lender's always covered unless it's a cash transaction, you don't have the lender involved. What's interesting is the cash buyers are a lot of the ones that go, I don't need it. I bought it outright. It's like, right, you are holding the entire asset unprotected. They need it more than anybody. But of course, the cash buyer feels like they're king or queen of the castle because they paid cash. Well, it's a mistake. And so when you look at it, there's 2 policies they can get. The first one, and a lot of companies use this as their basic policy, it's just called the standard owner's policy. And the standard owner's policy covers a lot of things, 10 key things, but it kind of limits after closing coverage on the ways that the enhanced policy does. Now for us, in many markets, the enhanced policy is our standard. That's where we start. But some companies start with this one because it's less expensive. They want to look more price competitive. And so they start with that, and nobody ever asks the difference. For us in this market, we're going to start defaulting more often to the enhanced policy. And we're going to tell you why here in a second. Kathy, you want to add anything on that?
Yep, April 1st, we are going to start defaulting when possible to the homeowner's policy. And that, again, has a number of extra coverages for the buyers.
So when you look at what's covered in a basic policy or standard, you have 10 covered risks that are included. Pre-policy encroachments covered. Encumbrances on liens of title covered. Lack of right of access, something that comes up often if you're selling land. And then, of course, pre-policy encroachments. You'll notice the key term here that's often on standard policy, pre. We did our search, anything that came up till today, we believe we found. But what about that stuff that comes up later, like somebody's name and stuff is not recorded correctly, or there hasn't been transferred into the right names and title? Well, an enhanced policy goes way further. An enhanced policy has 32 covered risks, plus 22 additional coverages, and most of those, a lot of them are going to be for stuff that is post-policy. You know, if you look at cable TV and you watch any of the news channels, you'll see just commercial after commercial for title lock. Everybody familiar with what I'm talking about? Like title lock, home title theft is so important, prominent. It is happening very often, but with a policy like this, you're covered on most of those things because post-closing fraud against your property is a covered item in an enhanced policy. And the cost difference between the two is negligible. Maybe cover that, Kathy.
Yeah, the cost difference is about 10%, and premiums are dictated on the sales price of the home. And I am happy to give a quote on both policies or any information if you all want to either email me or call me, and I'm happy to do that.
Yeah. The other thing that it gives, and I think this is a big one that nobody thinks about, the 10% appreciation per year, because you buy that home at $300,000, and if your market is like ours, if people have paid $300,000 in 2018, 19, and 20, their home is probably worth $450, $425 today. True? Yes? Okay, well, their coverage is not limited to the $300,000 they paid. It goes up 10% a year with a cap of 150% of their policy price, purchase price. However, somebody could always come to us and say, I stole this thing at 300, now it's worth $600, I want coverage. We can do a reissuance and they can up their policy. That's the kind of service you would get from us, and you can work with Kathy on any of that. I would tell you that's really rare. Nobody really does that because they're not thinking about it. But with this policy itself, you're covered up to 150% of your purchase price. So that's a lot. And then forgery after the date of policy is also covered. So these are some big enhancements on the enhanced policy, and that's why we use it as our default. Now, you may say, well, what do I have to have to be eligible in the Kentucky market? A standard policy, all of these would apply. Vacant land, commercial, new construction, buying it as an LLC. However, on the homeowner's policy or the enhanced, those are going to be 1 to 4 family dwellings. Those would typically always qualify, not always. A natural person as a buyer. So Kathy Sharp as a buyer or an LLC as a buyer. A living trust, we can do that. And of course, completed new construction. Completed new construction, spec home, a model home versus somebody building from scratch on a lot. So that's going to be some things that separate it. But ones that are not eligible, you'll see at the bottom, vacant land and commercial. You can't do an enhanced policy on that. The title industry, though, has made kind of a little step forward in the last couple months. I didn't provide a lot on this today, but just know if somebody was to only qualify for a standard policy, there's a new add-on in the market called 49 and 49.1, which allows us to do the expanded coverage for an additional insurance cost. It's a separate policy. It covers those things that are missing. And that's something that will be eligible in this market in the coming months. The insurance companies have to file for this. They haven't filed for it in all states, but throughout the Midwest, it's kind of rolling through. And that's another way we get you coverage if we need. Kathy, anything you want to add on that?
No, that I think it's going to be a very common endorsement when standard policies are bought. They may decide, let's say you have a property that's over 25 acres. You would only get the standard policy, but you could buy the 49, which gives you some additional benefits, especially the forgery and fraud that adds on as long as that's their primary residence.
That forgery and fraud protection is really key, especially with land, because that's where a lot of the title fraud is. It happens on land transactions, because somebody goes down and files something on it, people won't pay attention to that. Now, Very similarly in Indiana, for those of you that sell that market, I'll just pop these up. It's going to be virtually the same coverages and exceptions. So both Kentucky and Indiana will have that in it. Questions on any of that? All right. So what is title insurance? What is a commitment? And how do we want to interact with you differently to help you? We have local searchers that do searchers in your market. Once that search results come back, and we trigger that based on when you turn in your purchase agreements. The purchase agreements turn in, your offer of purchase, title order gets ordered. We start the search process. The searchers that get done, all of that data comes back to our team and Kathy's team at Home Services, and they start doing a title exam. When the examiners are done, they create a commitment. Some people call it a roadmap to closing. Typical turnaround time from the day you order it and we get search started to the day we could say, here's your closing roadmap, is about 5 to 6 days. That's how quickly we'll turn those for you. So if you have concerns and you want to see what's the roadmap, we got you, and we'll help you out with that. You can look at it. Kathy can get it to you because we're going to get it to the client, and you'll be able to read through that. Anything you want to add to that, Kathy?
I would say it's very important for the agents to read these title commitments. And if you are not getting them from your title company or the closing attorney, to ask for a copy. This is going to give you a heads up on what's on your client's property and what potentially would be exceptions on their policy that they may have additional questions. Along with that, the requirements section is important because that's basically everything that needs to be done at closing. Mortgages to be paid off, deeds, that's where the guardianship will show up also, which also states a 30-day wait once a judge signs off on it.
Another thing that comes as part of that, and we're going to have a slide on this in a second, and this is that process that I just outlined. This is what it looks like in a flow chart for those of you that want kind of a graph. But we're going to look at who's the current owner, which is really important. Do they have the right to sell, as Kathy said in that example that we had at the beginning? We're going to look at who's the buyer, what are they paying, so we know what's going to be covered. And all of that has to match up. You might think, well, that's not a big deal, but it actually is, because a lot of people maybe don't use the right legal name on their offer. And all of that has to line up for it to be insurable. So let me just show you some things that kind of go with that. What does an examiner look for? Well, first thing they're going to do is chain of ownership. Is that clear succession? And in the example that we were talking about before, somebody doesn't buy title insurance, and then you've got this problem in legal chain of succession. That's going to be an issue for somebody down the road. We'd rather solve it up front. Name search, as I said, we want to see who both parties are. And that's important too, because sometimes you pull up somebody, they've got a huge judgment against them. They're not going to be able to buy, or maybe not be able to sell without something being paid off. That can interrupt the transaction real quick. And then, of course, what kind of deed is there? Where are the taxes at? Are there any liens, mortgages? Everything needs to be paid off. But this is the one typically that your buyers are going to care about, covenants and restrictions. I can't tell you how many times somebody bought an acreage property and thought, this is going to be wonderful. I'm going to have 4 horses here. And then they close. And the trailer pulls up, and a neighbor comes over and goes, you can't have horses. Well, yeah, I can. They go, no. You have 4 acres. You need to have at least 7 in this county to have horses. And then, boom, that buyer is distraught, pretty angry with their agent. All those kind of covenants and restrictions that might show up on that land, we're going to see in that commitment. And that's why Kathy said it's really important for you to read. We had one a couple of weeks ago where they didn't read it, they closed, and then after closing, they went to plant something in the backyard. The neighbor came over and said, you can't plant anything there. They were going to plant a tree. And it was, why? Because, well, your backyard is conservation easement because it touches this particular body of water. You can't plant anything, you can't build anything there. They didn't choose to read that about 90% of their backyard was a conservation easement. Well, their agent didn't give them the, they would have seen that. And they could have reviewed that with them. So that's a major miss on their part. Now, how can we be a good partner for you? Well, connecting with Kathy. She can give you her phone number, her email, anything you need. And what happens is you might have something up front that you want us to look at. Maybe you represent the buyer, maybe you're the listing agent, and you want to know how something will be handled or how we can solve it. Or something we should look at closer. When she orders a search, she can tell the searcher, hey, can you look at the back corner of this property? We're concerned about X. Could be a building, could be a property line. We'll look at those and try to prevent problems for you, and it's going to make you look sharp. And Kathy has all of the access to all of the underwriters and dedicated attorneys to help solve your problem. Kathy?
Yes, so I'll give you my email, my phone number. I'm happy to help. Even if the title work is not coming through us, which I would love your business and I want to earn that business, but even if it's not, I'm happy to try and answer some questions, or you feel free to call me. But we have attorneys on staff. I have access to underwriters and can get answers pretty quickly for you all.
Yeah, we want to make you look good. Kathy, I love that point. Just because you're not doing business with us on that one transaction doesn't mean we're not your backup. We'll help you no matter what, and we'll earn your business later, because we don't want to talk to you just when you have a deal for us. We want to talk to you all the time. Whatever you need, we're going to be there to help you. And that's really that one size fits one mentality that we have.
I'm going to jump in with one additional thing. For many years, Fayette County land records were not available to the public. The clerk would not let anybody who wasn't officed in Lexington have access. That is now available online. So if you call me and you need a copy of covenants and restrictions, I hopefully, if it's from the date that they have online, can be able to pull it to you and email it to you fairly quickly.
Questions on any of that?
That's super helpful.
Yeah, so would that be helpful for you? We're your company, we're you. You're us, we are one team. If you need something like that, talk to us, we'll help you. So lastly, the examiner, their final push to this is they're gonna look at any mortgages, weeds, and judgments. That's gonna be a key piece in spelling it out. And then, is there an association that the property's in? Are there any easements and any shared ownership rights? Those are big things they want to know, because that's also going to affect policy coverage, and the buyer needs to know what is or isn't covered. Now, you might have exceptions. Those will never be covered because they're disclosed up front. Kathy, can you think of, I'm putting you on the spot, give us an example of an exception that wouldn't be covered that they would know about up front?
A drainage and utility easement, that shows up. Electric easements, those type of easements are not covered.
Now, I know I mentioned this, but it's super important that you get the correct legal name on your contract. And of course, it's not as important as having your buyer rep filled in with fees, because that gets you unpaid. But, because this can be corrected pretty simple, but having the correct name is important. Like me, I go by Jim, unless I'm around my family. Now, I should have told you this up front. I'm the youngest of 10. I have 7 older sisters. I can work with everybody. Okay? I'm great for traveling because I don't have to use the bathroom. I can hold it for days because I couldn't even get into it before going to school. But if I'm around my sisters, I'm Jim. If I'm at work, I'm Jim. And if I go somewhere traveling, they call me James because that's what's on my ID. I need to use James when I buy something, and it's important to have that, and I have to have ID that supports it, because that's what's going to be needed when we go to record. We need legal ownership names, so that's a bigger deal than you might think. Having the correct legal name is important. So if you're working with that person and their name is Bu, and it's short for Buford, you got to use Buford, okay? And they might say, nobody's called me that in years. Well, closer might, right? Or the closing credit.
Let me piggyback off that. Is a lot of times when your buyers are signing the purchase contracts, they will sign with their individual name. For instance, Kathy Sharp. But my intent is to take title as Kathy Sharp LLC. That's important to know for the title company or the closing attorneys, because we have to do name searches on who's going into title. And if we know up front, it's easier to order instead of possibly delaying. Let's say it's a county that's not on the, and we can't do a name search quickly. We have to have someone drive to the county, and depending on their schedules, it could end up closing, and you don't want that to happen.
Last couple things, how are they gonna take title? Now, in Indiana, obviously, you have tenancy by entity and that's not gonna be maybe as common here, because it's gonna also be just for married couples, but the most common thing you'll see a couple do is joint tenancy with right of survivorship. Kathy and I, if we were married, let's say, or even just cohabitating, we buy a house, we might buy it as joint tenants with right of survivorship. It's super common. We need to know that up front, because if I pass away, I intend for her to have this entire home and not have to go through a drawn out probate process. That needs to be declared, and we need to know that, so we set everything forward and how it gets recorded. Now, occasionally you'll have people that do tenancy in common, and of course they're very similar, but tenancy in common means I pass away, the portion of property that I own goes to my heirs or anybody I named, and Kathy would own the rest. So if we had it in a 50-50 arrangement, Kathy has 50% share, I have 50%. My brother, if he's my only surviving relative, would get my half the home. And even though Kathy liked my brother more than she liked me, she didn't want to own a home with him. And here they are, they co-own that home. To get me out of the way, or my brother out of the way, she's gonna have to pay him off if he's greedy, right? These little things come up and happen, and that's where you get, some of these instances. So pay close attention to how people are gonna take title. Make sure as an agent you can educate them on that, and you're gonna look sharp. What are you thinking? Are you thinking this or this? They're gonna say, what are the benefits of both? Now you can explain it, and they'll make a choice. Comments, thoughts on that? Anybody run into this? No? All right. And then what is the gap? Well, you're in a race to the recorder state, which means title closing takes place. How quickly does it get recorded is really important. We had a situation not too long ago where an area got developed and there was a big lot that got split. Got split into lot A, lot B. Well, lot A sold first. In fact, it sold like a month before. But the title company didn't go get it recorded. And lot B sold later, but went down and recorded that same day. Well, guess what? Lot B had a little different lot line in their description. They didn't have the newest lot line from the split. Lot A went and reported, and then they were told, well, no, you don't have 5 acres, you have 4.5. They go, what do you mean? Our property goes to here. And they said, no, it doesn't. Well, how do you know it doesn't? Well, look, this one just got recorded, and their line goes right through that. So now that's a big fight between lot A and lot B. Thankfully, lot A had title insurance. They're going to go solve that and get the proper piece done. But it's a race to the recorder state. We do offer gap coverage. Kathy, you want to just hit on that?
Yeah, so another good example of that is, let's say you close today on a property and Fayette County says have a data breach for some reason. And it's another 2 weeks before the documents can actually get recorded. Now your seller, 2 days before closing, decided to take out a mortgage and didn't disclose at closing. And that gets recorded sometime between the closing date and when your closing docs were recorded. Title insurance would cover that. That's a gap period, because there's that time where things can be recorded that no one is looking at the records.
Those things happen. You may not even hear about them because we're behind the scenes just taking care of them. But gap coverage is an important piece. Not everybody offers that as a standard. Now, a couple quick just words to the wise. Title scams are on the rise again. And one of the biggest ones is this deed scam. You should educate your buyers to this because you're going to look sharp, and also it's happening. What happens with these is they close on something, and a couple weeks later they get a piece of mail that looks very official, very, very governmental. And it's like, hey, you should send $89 here. We're gonna send you a copy of your deed and you have it in your hands, right? Well, we'll give you a copy, we'll give you 100 copies of the deed if you want it, you can frame them. We'll give it to you at no cost. They do this all the time. People fork over that money and they get a copy of their deed. That's a scam, okay? That one's out there. The other ones that are very true with vacant land is people try to go in and record that there's a different owner on that land. And then of course, they go to sell it. They call one of you and they say, hey, I don't live in Kentucky, but we used to, and I've got this piece of land I want to sell. We take precautions on that. We typically send a letter right away as a title entity. A lot of brokerages do this as well, to the taxpayer address for that land. And you find out really quickly whether it's the legitimate owner trying to sell. But these are all scams that are out there today. The other one is a second home scam. You may not have a ton of that here, but if you do have clients that have homes in, let's say, Florida, and they go there seasonally, Minnesota, we have a ton of that. People love to move up there for the winter and go out to the winter carnival and walk around in sub-zero temperatures. No, I'm kidding. A ton of the people from Minnesota, though, have second homes in Florida. And they're not there year-round. Somebody realizes that, they start putting ads out there for, hey, short-term rental. They rent your home out to somebody else. Or they'll record that they're the owner and they'll sell your home to somebody else cash. And of course, that cash buyer, I don't need title insurance. But you're gonna have to unwind that, your client will. And so these are scams that you're gonna see in different areas. And it usually starts by somebody asking to hire you that says they live out of state. So these are some of the ones that are there. I think it's just kind of word of the wise on that. Has anybody had any clients that have fell victim to any of this?
They try it all the time.
They try it all the time. It's crazy. Yeah, my mother-in-law did. They bought a home in Cozumel. They renovated it. They moved into it. And the owner knocked on the door and said, why'd you paint my house? Yeah. Now, that's another country, another, situation, but those are the type of things that happen on large scale. Now, I did find this online because in many of our markets, we're seeing these tools. And nationally, there's a company behind it called Property Watch. But here in Kentucky, they don't have that, but they do have a company called Doc Alert. Does anybody use this? What was your experience?
Well, actually, I haven't used it, but at a recent meeting, I found out that Oak County offers that.
Yes.
It's just, I sent it to all of my clients for them to, and they said it was really easy.
Yeah, it's super easy. I want to bring awareness to this today because if you call your clients, if you're looking for a reason to call your clients and say, hey, how are you? What's new? Hey, can I tell you about something that might help you? They're going to go, sure. Check on your county website and look for things like Doc Alert or Property Watch. They'll Google it. And they're going to find that they can go in and sign themselves up. And anytime somebody goes to record something on something they own, they get alerted. Now, does it stop title fraud? It doesn't, but it cuts it off much quicker. And these services are typically at no cost. This is spreading throughout the country. A lot of people knew that these things existed for free. Yeah, so that's a value add for today. You can bring this to your clients and it's another good reason to touch base with them and just see how they're doing. And then lastly, I wanted to give you a few realtor tips. Are we okay if I give you a few agent tips? Yes?
Yeah.
All right, let me share with you some things that in my experience have made a big difference with agents that I groomed or trained over the number of years. First of all, I looked at social media. I look at your social media. I see things being posted and I see a grave mistake happening. I see agents posting things like, sold in a day, sold in 5 minutes, things like that all the time on social. And I guess I would ask you, what are you really saying when you say that? Well, study shows you're telling them that they don't need you. And I would ask, did you really sell it in a day? What are your thoughts? Did you really sell it in a day? Did you sell it in a day? You did? No. You went there and you priced it accurately.
You highly networked it at your meeting. You maybe did a broker open. You sent over your handy person who fixed all the things that made it saleable in a day. Yes, but you didn't do it in one day. Now, you're pretty amazing, so maybe. But these things took you several days and years of experience to make it sell that quickly. So what I'm going to challenge you to do is don't talk about selling in a day. Tell the story of the owner. It was so fun to work with the Smith family. We had 20 showings, several offers, and met their goals with the least amount of interruption to their family. Good planning, staging, and pricing matters. Call me now. That is a much better message than it doesn't take much to sell a home, because the truth is it takes a lot. You all work your tails off, and maybe it comes together that day, but it didn't happen in a day. So tactic number one, change your message, tell stories. This is what people want to read, and they want video. They want video. Take a little video of, the dog, and it was so fun to work with, Rocky, the dog. As I sold these people home, he was so well behaved. If you have a dog, I know how to handle him when I list your home. That's the kind of thing that you want to tell. It's going to make a difference in your business. Second thing I want to show you, these are the highest rates of return for marketing when you're an agent. And you'll see things like cold calling or direct mail or phone solicitation or door knocking. Those are anywhere from 50, 100, 500, all the way up to 2,000 to 1 shots. People do a ton of that though. Why? Why do they do a ton of the top ones, not the bottom ones?
It's easy.
Because it's easy. It doesn't involve rejection. It's also known as passive. It requires somebody else to reach out to you, and it doesn't happen. But we spend money to be secret agents. Where the rubber meets the road is really these two quadrants. People that call you, people that come to your opens, and people that walk in. Why? Because they're motivated. You're not going to talk somebody into buying real estate. You have to be in front of the people that want it. But where's the biggest return? Past buyers, past sellers, and referrals. And I like to use this little piece. You've seen the thing, if you know, you know. Well, this is mine. KYOITY. They know you, they like you, they trust you. And that works for you because it's KY, right? They know you, like you, trust you. People know you, like you, trust you. You're going to get their business, but you have to give them an opportunity to get to know you. So, what's the important piece? Tactic number 2, use social media the right way. It's not about posting. Social media, that's oxymoronic. It is not social. It is anti-social. You post stuff, you read about it, you never engage with them. So what should you do? I would look daily at Facebook. I would scroll through, and I would make a list of 5 people I need to call that day. And it's going to be 100x if you call them and say, hey, I saw that you just got a new job. Congratulations. What made you want to do this? And hear their story. You can do that, or you can hit like. You can hit like on her post, if the other 200 people did. Or you could call them. Which one's more effective? What do you think? This makes all the difference. The agents that I know that do this every day have more business than they could possibly handle. And it's because the people are telling you, here's my hot button, please push it. Well, call them up. Call them up, take them out. These are the effective ways to do it. That's tactic number 2, and it revolves around this. Stop prospecting for sales. Just like Kathy and I, we're not here to prospect you for sales. We're here to say, here's something you know. Because we want to prospect for a relationship. When you prospect only for sales, you have a thing we call commission breath. And it's disgusting. That person called me because they want a sale. No, we want to call you because we're interested in you. We want to build relationships and a deep database on what you need. You should do the same with your clients. And then lastly, tactic number 3 ties it all together. There's something so profound about sharing a meal or sharing a beverage with somebody. And this is very ninja. I've been just saturated with ninja for about 10 years. And I would tell you that if you try to set up 2 face-to-face meetings a week, guess what? KYLYTY takes over your business. People know you, like you, trust you. There's no rejection in showing interest in someone. There's massive rejection in, Sarah, are you looking to sell? No. Now what? But Sarah, how's your family? Sarah, how's work? Sarah, you doing anything fun this spring? You going to the Derby? What big plans do you have? What are your dreams in the next 5 years? That's what you need to do, and all of that is laid out in Ninja. I encourage you to do it, but you can live it here with those 3 tactics, and I know that that will impact your business. And then just lastly, Kathy's gonna start coming down with a little more frequency, handful of times a year, because we want to say thank you. We want to say thank you to all of you that have used us. You're the driver of our business. We don't have anything without you. So you're our client. We appreciate you, and I'd love to take any questions. Kathy will take any questions. I don't think we went too long. Hopefully, did you find value today?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Question.
Yeah.
Back to the joint Tennessee and right of survivorship. So I had a sale recently. It was my next door neighbor, and it's a grandmother, mother, and son. And the grandmother and son were going to be making the purchase, but in the process, the mortgage lender decided that just the grandmother was going to purchase the home. She's 90. And I think they were wanting the grandson on there in case obviously something happens to her. So at closing, I find out that he's not on the deed. The lender told me he would be on the deed, but he's not. So they're supposed to be correcting it. So what is the right way of passage on that, so when you said the joint Tennessee of right of survivorship, I don't know if that's what they ended up doing. They're supposed to be adding him on. What's the best process for that?
So you don't know for sure if they've corrected the deed yet?
Well, they're supposed, I reached back out to the lender because I felt like it was his mistake because he said it would happen.
Sure.
He wasn't at closing. The title company was like, okay, that's gonna hold up the whole closing if we have to change all that.
Okay.
So they're supposed to be working on it. I haven't gotten word back that's been taken care of. She's reached back out to me to see if it's, and I've explained to her to reach back out to him.
Sure.
But I just want to make sure that, I think the whole process was they wanted him to be on there because obviously her mother's,
Sure.
90 years old. She's not going to live
Yeah.
for much longer, like 10 years, max maybe.
What county is the property?
Fayette.
Okay, I'm gonna give you my contact information, and I apologize to everybody that I did not have a slide with my contact information.
Okay.
But Mary and Heather have it, but I will touch base with you, give you my contact.
I just want to make sure it's taken care of
Yes.
properly,
So
and I
I
think
will-
that was the whole goal.
Yep, so I'll look at the public records and tell you if I see anything corrected yet.
Okay.
And then I'll tell you what steps.
Okay.
What I would say is go back to your closing attorney and find out if they have done anything. If you have a copy of the title commitment, I would also look at that.
Okay.
Because more than likely, in my experience, the lender is not gonna correct the deed. It's probably gonna go back to your closing attorney to have them.
And I think it is supposed to go to them, but it
Yes.
was kind of, we felt like he was the one that didn't communicate that to them.
Yep, and that very well could be, but I'm happy to
I appreciate
look
it.
it up and then try and walk you through what you can do.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
Yeah, we want to help you with that. The lender, quite honestly, probably doesn't care. And actually, they would not like to have anybody else on the deed in most cases, other than the person that's on the note. Because if something happens, getting somebody else out of the way. But for that family, they certainly do. And a lot of these things can be done post-closing, but Kathy will give you a step-by-step and get it done.
Yeah.
Other questions, thoughts, comments? Yeah.
I might have missed this, but in the enhanced policy, does that include everything that's in the standard, or are they two separate policies?
It includes everything that's in the standard and then some. So the 10 covered risks in the standard come forward. Probably one of the easiest ways to look at it is it covers a lot more post-closing things. Somebody committing fraud after you own it, some of the other items that we gave are covered that we solved. Kathy, you want to hit on any of that?
Yeah, it's a extensive list some additional coverages that it has. And I do have a sheet that I can send you all that will, just some basic high points of most things people care about that says what's in the standard, the additional coverage, but everything that's in the enhanced policy is in the standard, just some additional coverage.
And didn't you get marketing to brand it?
No, we're going to.
Yeah,
Yes.
You have such a proud brand. I've been in phone services for almost 30 years and gone to all these conferences and people talk about, Rector Hayden and that it's a beloved thing, the tradition. So we want to get some stuff branded to you too, so you can have a little bit of ownership in that message.
What is the price difference in doing the standard to the enhanced?
It's about a 10% increase in premium, 10 to 15%, but it's well worth the additional coverage, especially with the fraud and forgery and the increase in coverage every year for the first 5 years.
Yeah, so your policy on a $300,000 purchase, I'm just going based on the price of the network today. Doesn't mean that that's your price,
But again, I'll get my contact information, and if you ever want a quote of what the difference is, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, so $600 some policy, if you're adding on $60 for a bedroom.
Right. One thing, if you do email me for a quote that's helpful is because Kentucky does have small city taxes a lot of times. Kentucky also charges a premium tax on premium dollars. So when you email me for a quote, if you just give me the address, because then I can determine if it's going to be subject to small city taxes. That'd be helpful.
She's an expert in all of it, I promise you that. What else? Other questions, comments about real estate business or title? Want to help you? The last question I have. Do we have Minnesota accents? Every time I talk, accent, I'm like, yeah, sure. We'd love to help you guys. Right? All right.
Thank you very
Thanks very much.
Information. One of the things I enjoy that you talk about is relationships, and that's something we preach and talk about here all the time.
It's really fun to have the reload team here. We didn't introduce her, but we have legal counsel in the house, Rhonda Richardson. Thank you for being here, Rhonda. Our partnership with Sean and insurance, and certainly you all, it really helps. I don't think that it's realistic for us to be the experts at everything, but having the partners in the places to be the experts at everything is really, really important. And we do that here. We make that available to you all. So thank you all. It's a day full of partnerships. We got the marketing team in the back. We got our admin here serving as well. We got IT in the house. We really, truly do have everything that you need to run a successful business. So thank you for making time in person and online to be with us. I shared Kathy's information with Heather and Mary. They'll send it out today, all companies. So everybody has that. I just copied your signature line and shared it. So it's got every which way under the sun to get in touch with Kathy. So, and we're delighted that you might be back in our market sooner rather than later. So thank you for doing that. We appreciate it. Should you have any questions afterwards, we're all here. If there's anything we can do for you, let us know. I want to give you a heads up. The next business meeting 2 weeks from today will be Caitlin and I sharing some industry trends, some local information, some highlights of things to come. And as always, they bring you some magical marketing something that you can put into place. So plan to be here. We would love to have everybody join us. So thank you so much for being here. Thanks, guys. Bye.